Welcome to Portsmouth, where I am standing with a chap called Ross Barrett, and I promise you what he has to say, and particularly what he has to show you today, will change your mind about just how much boat you can get for just how little money. Now, regular viewers of this channel may remember his last project 3 years ago of a Fairline Corniche 31 that he bought for just £30,000 and spent just £10,000 transforming it from a relatively old, dated, dark single-cabin boat to a truly remarkably stylish, comfortable, light two-cabin boat. So for just £40,000, he had a really amazingly modern, usable boat. And the best news is he has done it all again. So Ross, tell us, what have you bought, how much did you pay for it, and why did you sell that beautiful Corniche?
Yeah, great question, Hugo. So what we've bought here is a Hershine 37. It's quite a difficult boat to recognise. It's got a bit of a Grand Banks styling. It was built, I think, in Taiwan as a original Great Loop boat for the US, and there are a few of them knocking around the United States, but not many of them knocking around in the UK.
So what age is it and what did you pay for it?
So she's a 1978 boat, and I paid £45,000 for her.
£45,000?
£45,000, yes.
And why did you sell that Corniche? What attracted you to this style of boat?
So the reason I sold the Corniche was really a few key problems that I had. When I was boating, there were a couple of key bits I wanted to do. One, I wanted to go a much longer distance but use a lot less fuel, and you can only really do that if you are going at a sort of displacement speed. Now the Corniche really isn't made for doing long distance at displacement speed. You've really got to be on the plane, you've got to bring the nose down, you get the efficiency and off you go. And I was finding that we wanted to go boating a bit more, we wanted a bit more comfort, we wanted a bit more ability to go a much longer distance, and being able to do that I needed a bigger boat that was a bit slower, that was going to use a lot less fuel. The second reason why I bought this is I don't want to use marina facilities anymore. I wanted to be self-contained on my boat. I want to have a shower in the morning, get up, cook some breakfast and be completely self-contained without trundling in all the way down a pontoon to go and take a shower somewhere in a marina. I wanted to be completely self-contained like a big 45 to 50 foot boat, but in a sub 40 foot trawler.
Now, I'm guessing that if you only paid 45 grand for it, it probably wasn't the most beautiful thing inside.
Absolutely not. It actually felt like you were living inside a tree. It was just wood everywhere. I mean, everywhere you looked was wood, you know, and it wasn't a nice element. There were a lot of lovely details to this, but it was a lot of ply, teak faced wood that over the years had started peeling in various places, that started looking dated. And I think you couple that with the very old traditional upholstery, some of the old finishings, that the boat actually needs to be brought up and have a bit of a modern charm, but retain some of its classic styling that that boat was built for in the 70s.
Come on then, let's go and take a look and you can show us what you've done.
Perfect. Well, welcome to Sea Star. This is inside the saloon and the galley of the Hershine 37 that has been completely transformed. We'll talk to you a little bit about that, but I want to show you how I actually got into making this whole boat project become a reality, because it all started with one very small modification in the aft heads.
Come on then, let's take a look and you can tell me where it all started. So this is the aft cabin, the owner's cabin, and in common with a lot of trawler yachts, it's rather luxurious because it has its own ensuite bathroom, but I understand it wasn't always quite so luxurious.
It wasn't always quite luxurious, and the problem that we had originally is this layout of this heads was it had a single toilet and a pull-out sink that was hidden, that you would pull out from underneath the cutout away here, and it had a hip bath. And And I've never quite understood hip baths on boats. It's a bizarre concept for me, because you can't actually, if I lay in a bath and want to lay down with a nice lush bath bomb and have a decent soak, I'm not quite sure we can do that in a hip bath, because you don't know whether you sat down or stood up. So the whole point was, when I got this, I was fed up of pulling this sink out to wash my hands after going to the toilet. And the other part is, the sink was made of marble. So it weighed an absolute ton. So every time you pulled it out on these wooden sliders, you needed muscles like Hulk to push the thing back and get the sink back stored where it needed to be. And it was a real problem. So what I agreed is, I was just going to do a small modification of taking out the hip bath, taking out the sink, using some of the space, domestic shower from the space, put a new electric macerator toilet in, just a few little tweaks, a few little panels, and that would be it. And we would live with the rest of the boat, as I agreed, through the next few seasons of boat usage.
So this is what you did. This is the end result. Got beautiful blinds, proper corner shower unit, electric toilets, lovely sink, smart tiling up the walls, nice bright colours, mirror. So you've done that. So far, so good. I'm guessing the rest of the boat wasn't quite at that level then?
No, the rest of the boat was still very, very dated, still looked very, very difficult to have any type of sort of comfort. I mean, I'm not sure. I wasn't around in the 70s, so I don't know if boating in the 70s was that very classic flares, kind of wood vibe, sort of sitting around a dining room table, having a cigarette and drinking a glass of whiskey. I have no idea, because I wasn't around, but that's what it felt like. It was a bit of a cross between a gentleman's club in here and like the inside of a tree, as I said, and it wasn't light and fresh and airy. And after I completed that bathroom, it was quite strange, because this cabin was still very dated, and then I'd open this and go, oh, that's quite weird. It was like a little bit of a TARDIS cupboard, and it was like, right, well, okay, what do I need to do? And I thought, well, I don't need to do anything. What we need to do is we'll go and use the boat, and that's exactly what we did. We went off and we used the boat, and we went over Bembridge. We were really excited first time we used it, and that evening we had a couple of drinks, sat on the Flybridge. It was really, really nice, and thought we'd go to bed. And the bed was a small double. So what we then found is, halfway through the night, my wife was sleeping with her head up that way and her feet down that way. I was sleeping with my head up there and my feet down there, and it was just a strange concept of getting into a bed tucked up into a corner where you felt you were just being compressed into something that just was uncomfortable. And for me, having a boat is especially a boat of this size that you're going to use and want to go away on, you have to still be able to class it as being comfortable. You have to say, yep, I had a good night's sleep. Yes, I woke up feeling refreshed. And yes, I want to be on this because it's interesting and exciting, and I feel comfortable, a bit like you do when you're at home in your own bed. So I didn't really know what to do, because there was a huge desk here and there was a huge, really ugly wardrobe over there. And then the bed sort of stuffed into this corner with this wardrobe that actually come right out to here. So you couldn't actually walk around the bed either. So I thought, right, what I'll do is I'll try and do a bit of modifications on the bed, see if I can make it slightly bigger, see if I can come up with a different design. And then what I'd done was just ripped it all out, because it was just an easier thing to do. And then I started taking a few bits out, and I thought, well, if I just take that piece out now there, then that gives me space there, and I'll do that. And then all of a sudden there was like 3 bits left of the bed, and I was like, well, I might as well just take it all out then. And then there was no bed in here at all. And then I was looking, thinking, well, now what do I do with that wardrobe? I thought, well, I'll smash the wardrobe out as well, because I don't want an old looking wardrobe if I'm going to put a new bed in. So I ended up smashing the wardrobe out as well, and coming up with a new design and concept, what I was going to do from a wardrobe perspective. And then what happened was we ended up with this design of bed that basically was unique to this cabin, which meant you can actually get out both sides. So it's not full island bed in the centre of the cabin where you can completely walk around. But the design was, I needed enough space to be able to wake up, sit up, put my feet over, shuffle around without waking up the person next to me.
Because we all know when you get to a certain stage of life.
Absolutely. That's quite critical, right? So I had to get up and basically make sure that we were going to do that, and that was going to work, and it was going to make it an ease of being able to walk around. While I was then building the bed with bits of wood and laying out panels and bits of cardboard and working out how the sizes need to be and laying there and drawing figures around me to make sure that two people could lay there correctly, it was a thing I thought, oh, I wonder how I could make the bed storage rather than drawers being underneath. How do I make the bed storage a little bit better so that I don't lose all the space? So I fitted this electrical ram to the bed, so basically I can lift
it's moving.
the whole bed up and store all my tools without having to climb down in a dirty old engine bay and get access to all the spares and all the tools that I would need. So especially if I was at sea and I needed something quickly, I could get this bed up, get access to the tools and the various bits and pieces I would need, and it would be something nice and simple for me to store in.
Very cool. Well, is your wife aware that she's sleeping on top of all your power tools?
No.
She's never been.
She is now. So this goes up near on vertical, so you get a full height for this lift up bed.
That's high enough. We can see what's going on there.
So yeah, it's all just fitted to this nice little switch.
So you made this whole bed yourself?
So this whole bed I made completely. Yep. So this whole bed was made completely out of this wood I got from B&Q and Wicks. So the whole lot was completely custom built.
So this all looks quite different. What have you done in terms of upholstery and painting and so on?
So one of the key things I done was I wanted to put this feature headboard in at the back of the bed just to make it a bit more stylish when you walk into the cabin, and they were the standard acoustic panelling that you can get. I really wanted to brighten up the aft cabin, so this had a huge paint job through, so just painting over the Teak ply with a primer and then an all-in-one Zinza paint that basically just really brought the colour up. And then I just went back into doing little tweaks again. So because I'd built this whole new wardrobe unit, built all the wood and put everything back on as I wanted to do, I actually then went to buy some more upholstery and got me old trusty spray glue out and me staple gun, and went back through upholstering a lot of the key details that you can see, including this cupboard, TV rack. And
so you did all this final upholstery, all of this
the final
soft
upholstery,
touch.
all the soft touch, all the way around. Mounted the TV, so the TV comes out on a pull bracket, which makes it easier. Built this nice little cupboard so we can just have a fair bit of extra storage that goes in there. And then wanted a soft finish all the way up the side, revarnished the wood, and then built the bedside table over there with the old top that was left over from the bashed out wardrobe that I destroyed with a hammer.
So nothing gets wasted, even when you pull it apart.
Exactly.
You still try and build it into something new.
Yes. The only difficult bit I could never match was this piece of trim here. Was quite a difficult size to match. So I tried the best with what DIY shops had available without buying very bespoke machined components.
And what do you reckon you spent on this cabin?
On this cabin, I would say, to get it to this finished standard, probably less than £1,000.
Very good. And you've got a wardrobe in there with a door on it?
Wardrobe in here with a door from a company called Roller Door. It's a very odd spelling of Roller Door, but they were designed for camper van conversions. They're now on a boat.
And what did that cost?
I think that door was about £350.
Okay, but a little bit of money, but worth it because it saves a whole load of space.
Absolutely.
This countertop?
This countertop was a find on Facebook Marketplace for solid oak, and it was the grand sum of £20. And then I machined it, routed it, and then bought this brass fiddle rail just to kind of keep a bit of that charm in, and then mounted a really nice old picture of the William Fawcett.
Fantastic. Let's go and have a look and see what you've done in the saloon.
Perfect.
So tell me, how did this saloon used to be configured?
Okay, these boats, the saloon used to be configured where there was a galley down the port side. It was a straight arrangement, single galley style, very wide countertops, sink, oven, fridge, very, very little counter, sort of storage space actually in those cupboards. And then there was a seating arrangement that wrapped from the helm seat here in a sort of L shape that went down and sort of kind of finished round about here, and then there was a huge dining table that would sit in front of that, and the seats were kind of those vertical upright uncomfortable, soft, they were leather, but they were sort of very soft foam, and you would kind of sit on them, and if you wanted to sit there and chill out and relax and have a glass of wine in the evening, it wasn't a place that you could do it in any type of real comfort. So that was how it was laid out originally.
So very trad, very dark colours.
Very dark colours, very dark green, all wood, so everything was wood, sort of the teak effect.
So teak on ply.
Teak on ply. And it was everything, it was teak on ply up to the windows, and then the window frames were teak, and then all the stringers were teak around here, and the bulkheads were teak, and the trims were teak, and the windows were teak, and the countertop fittings were teak, and even the manual hand brass pump sat on a teak base. It was
amazing. So hence, like living inside a tree.
It was like living inside a tree.
Now this looks very different, very modern, very light, plenty of natural light and ventilation. How have you created this? What's this galley unit?
So this galley was actually from Howden's, of all places. And I actually took the concept from the design I knew I kind of wanted, because I'd seen so many boating videos on the Motorboat and Yachting channel that I'd come across a Swift Trawler 34, and I'd seen the U-shaped style galley. And I just wanted it to be that style of galley if it was going to be in an open plan saloon with the sort of sofa and the sort of arrangement to be able to sit and watch TV at the same time. So I kind of knew the concept I was going to do. I'm not quite sure how it was going to lay out. So I basically got loads of cardboard boxes and laid everything out with the sizing, and then a chippy that I used to help create all this. He come and done some designs took them back to Howden's, and Howden's done the 3D drawings, and then once I had the 3D drawings, then I knew exactly that that's how I wanted it to then fit in, and that all the off-the-shelf products that they sold would fit exactly how I wanted it to fit into the boat.
Howden's, just in case anyone doesn't know, that's just a sort of high street, run-of-the-mill domestic kitchen fitter.
Correct.
So relatively good quality, but good value too.
Very good quality.
So all of this is just domestic galleys, nothing sort of specifically marine?
Domestics, nothing specifically marine. It's a solid walnut countertop that I put in, and the rest of it is all then just off-the-shelf products.
Let's have a quick peek inside, see what you've got in there.
So we have a full Dometic fridge freezer.
Brilliant.
That we have. One of the key things I wanted to put on this boat that really frustrated me about the last one is not having a bin. So just being able to have a space to put a bin was brilliant with no handles.
2 bins?
Yeah, 2 bin. One where recycling is important these days.
Yeah.
So it was just really, really important that I had somewhere without hanging a carrier bag off a handle somewhere.
And I saw some neat solutions going on here.
Yeah, huge amount of counter space. And then I actually got this unit built here, so this will take all the cans and everything that then just slides under, so that any of the space underneath the plimps aren't wasted, that then go under the side decks. So everything is...
So it was otherwise effectively dead space you've used for a whole load of extra dry storage.
Absolutely.
Brilliant. On this side, what have we got?
On this side, we have the cutlery.
Very nice.
And then we have a combination convection grill, microwave, combi, oven.
Brilliant.
Cookology induction hob, so it has a relatively low power rating on one zone. So when I do finally put a solution on either generator or power bank, and if anybody has got any solutions that they want to hit me up on or get me to try or test, quite happy to take a part of that and fit it to this boat and write a review about how I found that to happen.
Well, that would make a lot of sense. If you can have a sort of power pack with an inverter built into it, then you wouldn't have to have a noisy generator. And
absolutely, and you wouldn't then have the maintenance of the generator and all the other issues that go along with that. And
nice.
If it's powered by a solar arrangement, that would be a really, really cool solution.
Now, I see you've got a fair few gadgets, including a TV by the looks of things.
Yep, so when this was designed, originally the TV was going to go on this sort of small TV stand, and I very quickly realised that it wasn't going to fit there. So the solution was smaller TV, or come up with a unique design and a solution about where the TV was going to go. And I actually see this box concept on a Chinese-built trawler yacht. And it just hit me there and then, but that's exactly what the TV was going to have to do. It was going to have to mount to the bulkhead, it was going to sit in a box, and something that I could clip up out the way when I'm cruising.
Show us how it works then.
So we just take the TV, we fold it up, we click it up, and she's away for the cruise.
Job done. And did you make that yourself?
It was all made ourselves, yep.
At the mighty cost of?
Oh, the wood was about £32.
About, just roughly £32.
Yes.
But that is the point. You count every penny and everything you do. You always get it absolutely to the lowest possible price you can.
Yeah, yeah. And I think, you know, looking around, I was looking on Gumtree and Marketplace and various other bits about people who had bought big sheets and were then getting rid of various bits and pieces, because you can buy that up. You know, I had still a lot of stuff left over from the last refit as well that got utilised, a lot of switches, a lot of wiring, a lot of cables. That actually then got really utilised into this boat.
What about all these blinds I can see around here?
So all these blinds were from a company called Blinds to Go. So just like at home, when you measure up your blinds and you say, I need this drop by this width, that's all I've done here. Just measured them up.
So nothing fancy, marine?
Nothing fancy, nothing marine.
What do all these blinds cost you then?
So these blinds were about £350.
For the whole, all the blinds? For all the blinds. Around the boat?
Yep. Yep.
These ones here look a little bit different. What are these?
These were from a company called Tropic Home, and again, this was an eBay find. So they had these sort of shutter-style cassette blinds originally on there, but not my size. So I found the company, gave him a call and said, hey, do you think you could make me this particular size? And he said, well, you can make anything you want. And then when I told him it was a boat, he actually said, oh, we've never done one on a boat before. So I was like, oh, great, well, let's see if we can do that. So he manufactured those and sent them through from his factory in Turkey, and I got one made for the back, and they're absolutely perfect because this back of this sort of saloon roof is sloped. Whatever solution I was going to put in, it was either going to be cafe net curtains with 2 poles, so they were taut, or it was going to be a blind hanging down that you tried to pin, or you're going on the outside of them being able to put a sort of cover on the outside of the window itself, and neither of those things I think work better than having a sort of cassette that you can pull down.
So what do they cost you?
Those ones were about £160.
For the pair?
For the pair.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
We all know how expensive those can be. Now I also know that you like to sit down and have a little bit of a drink of an evening. Where do your drinks live?
So my drinks live on our beautiful Balani sofa here, which was from Switzerland, and when I sit down and get the drink out, I pull my trusty old table, glass of wine, and snacks, wine, TV or music, relaxing.
And that's an off-the-shelf piece of furniture. That's not
off-the-shelf piece of furniture, straight from Switzerland, from the company, and the sofa was £500, I think, delivered.
And makes into a double bed?
Makes into a double bed, so pulls out, clicks down, double bed, ottoman storage, and then a full suite of storage in the drawers that actually sit under each of these as well. So, so really easy.
Unbelievable.
Access.
So you don't have to go to an expensive marine upholsterer to buy your furniture.
You really don't. I think if you've got the space and you've got a bit of creativity, you can come up with designs. And what I done was I knew the space between point A and point B, and there were loads of products on the market. But I also knew this space that I needed to be here. So if every time I looked at a corner sofa that was going to be perfect, a corner sofa would finish here. And I had thought, do I just take it to my friend who's got a furniture upholstery sort of company and say, hey, can you cut all this down for me if I buy a corner sofa? But the more research, the more you can actually start finding bespoke, sort of your bespoke products, but are off the shelf that fit your needs. And
so it's all about just researching on the internet, finding what works, the right price.
Yep, not the first few things that pop up on Google, or the first things that are sponsored from an ad perspective. Just start looking a little bit more, you know. So I started using all sorts of words, you know, like compact corner sofas, you know, corner sofas with fold-down tables, sofas that fit boats, sofas that fit caravans, sofas that fit small spaces, small sofas.
And you're on to page 2, 3 and 4 of Google, not just the first
all
one.
of a sudden I, you know, come across this company and I was like, wow, the sizes are great, they're perfect, they fit, everything works.
Brilliant. So where do the drinks themselves live? Because I've seen something quite clever over here.
Yep, so this was actually part of the boat originally, so 1978. This clearly was one of the features. So the drinks live in this nice pull-out cocktail cabinet here, so they contain just a few...
So you've kept the best bits, the ones you like, and got rid of everything else. The bar.
I kept the bar.
The only thing.
We can never get rid of the bar, right? And of course, there's no drinking aboard this boat without the captain.
Indeed, absolutely. Now, carpet, I noticed, because this used to be parquet flooring, didn't
It
it?
used to be parquet flooring, but parquet flooring, for me, on a boat, it belongs in a school hall. A lot of people say it's coming back into fashion, but I think if you're trying to create something that's got a little bit of charm, a little bit softer furniture, a little bit softer feeling, I think carpet just transforms everything. And this boat has got big wooden hatches that give you access to the engines. The issue that I had is the finishing around those hatch covers, and there was no trims on here, so it was either I cut all the wooden hatches down and roll the carpets down and staple them, or I find carpet tiles, and most of the carpet tiles that you may have seen in B&Q or the shops are sort of very thin. So I started Googling thick carpet tiles, really thick carpet tiles, and then I come across a company called DCT UK who sold these carpet tiles called Cozy Toes. So I ordered a sample and they turned up, and it was just like a huge nice thick piece of carpet on a carpet tile. So 68 carpet tiles later, and you can butt right up against the hatches with actually no cutting of those edges, which then stops any fraying, and they've been absolutely fantastic.
So you can just about see the joins if you look really closely, but all of those are separate tiles, and the hatches, you can see the little hatch handles to lift those out, but essentially it looks like a fitted carpet.
Correct.
Brilliant. Let's have a quick look further forward then. Let's have a look at the Helm.
So the Helm didn't have too much of a major transformation. There was all these old buttons and panels here, which I didn't really know what they were for. And one of the key things that I wanted to do, which I'd done to the last boat, is up on the Flybridge of this, there was no repeat instruments. So there was no temperature, no oil. You just had the standard Volvo Penta rev gauge, and then everything else was of the alarms. And for me, I always like, if I'm helming from upstairs, to see what the engine and the oil pressures are doing, because that's your first warning before an alarm goes off. So if you do see those things rising every now and again, you do know that you're starting to develop a problem. So I fitted my engine gauge precision solution, which I'd done last time, so I can send the single sensor readouts directly to the Flybridge, rather than having to wait or change it to a double, and then, of course, if you send the signal up halved, then you get the false reading. So I just send it so it reads the correct the correct ohms on what's up there, and just put a few details about the boat, so I kind of knew how high the mast was.
How did you get that printed out then?
So this, I took a picture of the boat, and then I put that into Microsoft PowerPoint, and then I sit and drew all the lines of that, and then I screenshotted that, and then turned it into an engraving file, and then went to a company that I use and say, hey, can you make this for me?
Brilliant. And what about the electronics then?
So all the electronics I relatively renewed, so put in all the new Raymarine equipment. This was original to the boat, not in the 70s, but I think they still had paper charts then, maybe some molded, but this was original to the boat. But all the new Raymarine equipment I put in. I really like the Raymarine stuff, so big plug for Raymarine, because I think it's really intuitive to wire up, really intuitive to use, and really quick and effective in navigation.
So you've got an Axiom 7, is it?
So I've got the Axiom 7, I've got the 12 Pro, I've got the P70S. Autopilot. And that's into the 350 autopilot, or the 300, I think. And then I've got the AIS 700 receiver and transmitter behind there. But one of the key things I had when I did take a lot of this down, a lot of the wiring was, I had to put my hand up there to move something, and I found the wiring was red hot. And it kind of looked at it and was like, oh, okay. That's a bit of a problem. So it was another job to the list. Do I do it? Don't I do it? And then I one day got a pair of snips, and I thought, if I just cut them all out, then I have to do it. So that's what I'd done. So I just chopped through the wiring loom completely, took all the wiring out, threw it all away, took it all the way back down to the DC panel, took the whole lot, 3 bin bags of it out, and then just put my own wiring loom in that I made by running single cables up to where they needed to actually be.
How do you learn all that stuff?
YouTube.
So you just watch a how-to on YouTube?
How-to, or read, or I've spoken to people, or I've done it, made a mistake, redone it, kind of learned a little bit about it. Done a lot of engineering when I was younger, so kind of it just picked up on being able to do. And if I get stuck on something, I normally revert to asking on a forum or going to YouTube and watching a video.
Very good. And daughter's cabin, is that right?
So daughter's cabin at the front. So she has a twin berth, sort of 2 single berths. This is her little den. Only real changes in here is these headboards were actually from a single bed. So these were about £22 from Amazon.
Fantastic.
So they just fit absolutely perfect. I mean, you just wouldn't believe when you measure the size and you say, would that headboard fit? And it was just like, well, yeah, it was kind of made for this boat. And that was done. And I kept a lot of the old features, the charms, but every light on this boat now is LED. So there's not a single bulb or light that's not LED on this boat. So really low power. New hatch, low profile hatch, and the hatch that was there was all wood with a great big bit of perspex on, and a massive red tally warning sticker saying "Do not open this hatch at sea," which I thought was a little bit bizarre, but you can never push it up. I mean, it was so heavy, even I struggled to push it up and then try and spin the dials to hold it up. So got a little bit of finishing work to do around that, but and then it was just very simple to put a nice, easy shade in for her, and then it's easy to get out, and access is very, very simple.
Excellent. And am I right in thinking she's also got an ensuite?
She has her own ensuite. Yep. So her ensuite was refitted this year. Actually gutted the whole of this place. Put a new sink in, toilet from Force 4. These toilets are fantastic, by the way. I'll plug these because they are. I've used these in now 4 boats. And these are just great, cheap, effective, really good quality toilets, and they work every time. They work without fail.
So it's a full electric porcelain bowl,
full electric, macerated toilet.
Price?
£214.
Good Lord.
So I built this timber unit at the back, so there's more storage in the timber unit, and then again the sort of tiles are vinyl, and they were actually purchased from Amazon. I think there was about 6 packets there.
What is it? Just stick-on vinyl that looks like tiles?
Vinyl that looks like tiles. And then the headline in here was a little bit worse for wear. So out come again my glue and trusty staple gun, and I recut a new piece of wood for the headline in, and reupholstered that, and put a whole new headlining up.
Corner sink unit. Off the shelf?
Off the shelf, corner sink unit. Yep, Victoria Plum. Thank you very much.
Brilliant. Price?
Oh, I can't. I think it was about £150, £130, something like that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And the shower?
And the shower is a douche again. So that one was a little bit more expensive because it was brushed brass.
Very smart.
You know, but the chrome ones you can pick up for sort of £25, £30 on eBay. You asked for a brushed brass one, and the price shot up a little bit more. I think it was about £70.
Oh, you really pushed the boat out.
I did, but you know, you now got ability to either wash your hair or wash your bum, whatever you want to
do. Equally handy. Right, let's go and have a quick look outside then. Lead the way. You've got two ways out. So you've got one next to the helm, one over this side. Which way should we go?
Let's head out this way.
Come on then. Beautiful teak decks, I see. Are they original?
All these teak decks are completely original, so they were all just cleaned up. So I've had these decks done twice now. And the first time I had them done, because I'd never really owned teak decks, I didn't really know what to do. You know, do I buy the chemicals? Do I not buy the chemicals? Do I clean them? Do you jet wash them? And I think every time you go on the internet or you read forums or you read something about who's done what, everybody has a different view about what you do with a teak deck. So I had a company come in and do them, and I watched them do it, and I thought, wow, that's really not that hard. So basically, this was then done with Wessex Chemicals last week, just to clean all the way up, and then just Semco on a rag and give it a good wipe over, and keep on top of them with a bit of Semco every year, and they look good as new.
Beautiful, thick, original teak, though, isn't it?
Yes,
that's going to last for years.
They're fantastic.
So aft deck here, that's the access down into the owner's cabin, which we've seen.
It's got a nice full-size storage.
Oh, that's handy, isn't it?
Yep, and there's an electric outboard in there.
Brilliant. For your tender on the back.
The tender, and the tender winch is on a remote. It's a Rhino remote, and it's on snap davits. And the really nice thing now is I just lower it down. You can climb into the boat, and then I just unsnap davit it, and off we go. And these Mini ribs are absolutely fantastic, really stable compared to the full inflatable with the inflatable hull. This we've got the aluminium hull, and it is just really, really, really stable.
Neat, and a paddleboard. And then up to the Flybridge, shall we?
Yep, so this is the pre-sun deck, before the sun deck.
This looks very lovely.
Yeah, so this is a really, really lovely space up here. There's no seating originally here, just originally a sort of fold-away teak table that was really kind of just had its day, so I just kind of threw it away. And I thought, you know, I wanted a bit more of a compact furniture, but I wanted to be able to store it away. And I found this in the range. And these seats store behind this seat. And then you put a cover over and you can link everything in. And then I fitted this table so that basically this can just unclip. So you can just press the button and then basically take the table off completely. And then I store the table under as well, put the cover on, clip everything on, and I'm good for winter.
So those chairs tuck essentially under the back of it?
Under the back of this.
So it's all,
so
the footprint is just the same as that?
The footprint is just the same as that sofa.
Brilliant. Price?
Yep. That was £300.
£300 for 3 stackable outdoor furniture.
Yep.
Very impressive.
Yep.
Then up here?
And then up here, this boat originally had gas, so when I ripped out the galley, the same as I did with the Corniche, I went full electric. I don't particularly like gas on a boat. And there was an Osculetti white plastic gas locker fitted right there, and it just looked awful. And there's so much space that goes under the this sort of fly helm here. I thought, what can we do? So I bought another fridge, and it's a small Dometic fridge, and fitted it so that basically we've now got a really nice fridge. And the frame and the door, believe it or not, was from the old galley that was down, just all chopped down, and a coat of fresh stain. Brilliant.
Rip out, reuse, recycle.
Rip out, reuse, recycle.
And the helm?
So the helm, I put some, again, new electronics in here. So the Axiom 9 sits up here. It's got the P70 and I70. I put the new sort of these NASA. I quite like these NASA depth sounders. You know, they're very reliable. They're very sort of clear, big picture stuff. And then I fitted these Veritron gauges. These are absolutely fantastic, these Veritron gauges. So you can see the temperatures of what's going on when you're running your engine. So the last temperature we got up to was 69. You can see the oil pressure. You can see your fuel levels. And the nice thing about these gauges is they're all programmable on an app. And they run off an I think it's called RFID. So you put your mobile phone, it reads, and then you can program whatever gauge. So if I want that gauge to be an oil gauge tomorrow, I just got to make sure the oil senders do it, and I can make it an oil gauge. If I want it to be a fuel gauge, I can make it a fuel gauge. Whatever gauge I want. That's all connected to the NME A2000 straight into the Raymarine unit.
Fantastic. And then foredeck didn't really need anything doing, did it?
Foredeck didn't really need anything doing. There was a huge loud hailer here originally. I took that off and found this mast light at a boat jumble. So I bought that, and that's wired in, so I can just light up that foredeck now if I'm ever anchoring at night. Now,
talking of masts and so on, I noticed you've got a fairly substantial mast at the aft end here. Tell us a little bit about that.
So this was an interesting concept. So this boat originally had a mast, and when I viewed this boat, the mast on the boat was actually laying next to the boat, and it was a huge wooden mast, completely intact. And when the transaction had gone through, before it had gone through, I said to him, you know, would you mind lifting the mast onto the boat? I'll figure out how I get it up and re-rig it once I'm back on my berth. A few days later, when I paid and went down to get the boat, there was no mast to be seen, and the boat was in the water. So I said to the marina, you know, where's the mast? And they didn't know either, and they were looking around, and then a guy from the yard came up and said, well, someone told me to cut it up. And they chopped the mast up into about 15 pieces.
Ooh.
Like firewood, and all the fittings, so the scan strut, the lights that were there, all of the stainless fittings, all that were all just also in the skip.
So what have you got here? Come and show us this one.
what I had to do is I got a price for a new mast, and a new mast, I think it was in Douglas Fir that the guy said when he was doing the thing, was anywhere between £8,000 and £9,000. And I was just like, no way, I'm not spending £8,000 or £9,000 on a new mast. But this boat, this style, this trawler, it needs this kind of trawler mast. It gives it that sort of aesthetic look that, there was just always something missing with this boat without a mast up. And there's an old shed over there, and it had an old mast on top of it. And I said to the boatyard manager here one day, you know, whose is that mast? I said, don't know, it's been there 20 years. You can have it if you want. And I was like, oh, absolutely. I wonder if that will work on creating a new mast. So I took this old yacht mast, stripped everything off it completely. Then had my brother-in-law machine a fitting for me that would mount between the original stainless fitting here and the yacht mast. We worked digitally out all of the sizes of what the original mast was, and then basically went about creating our own mast using lots of fittings that we had picked up at boat jumbles or fittings that we had in storage left over from various sort of jobs I might have done over the years, and then ended up creating this mast. Now, wiring this mast, I don't envy anyone who puts a wire up a mast. So all those people who own yachts that ever need to do yacht mast wiring, hats off to you guys, because it was one of those jobs I never want to do again in my life. It was absolutely awful, especially when I got one cable up and then it dropped and I had to start again. The other thing I didn't want though is I hear a lot of yachts with mast wiring rattling inside. Everything is in conduit inside these, so every single wire is in a conduit that is then sealed with sealant, so there is no rattling on this mast.
Very good, because I can hear all the others rattling away.
There's no rattling. This is a rattle-free mast.
So that's from a sailing dinghy adapted to use on a motor yacht at the grand price of
£0.
£0.
The mast was free. The paint was £40. It was £60 to paint. The rigging was what was originally here. Just got a big pair of bolt croppers and a swaging tool and re-swaged all the rigging. So that was done, and then we bought all this rope at boat jumbles for like £5, £10, various bits and pieces. The rest of the fittings that we had in a box. These lights were from Amazon, just for a flood light, so they were I think £20. And then apart from the Raymarine radar sat on the mast, everything else was FOC.
Brilliant. Right, that just leaves the engine room. Let's go and have a quick look down there.
Yep.
So engines under the saloon floor.
So engines are under the saloon floor. So you can see the carpets on the hatch. So very simple to lift up. There are no, with these old boats, you know, there are no, unfortunately yet, electronic hatches that lift up everything that would be
just go the other side.
These are just very, very heavy, very old, big wooden hatches that sit up.
So the engine is
it's a Volvo TAM D40A.
With 200 horsepower?
200 horsepower, turbo driven.
So single engine.
Single engine. It has a very, very sophisticated ESI fuel polishing system. I did have to look this up. I think it's from America, but it does a really incredible job of polishing the fuel on this boat, and it runs on timers, so you can either polish or transfer. This boat's got 4 Teak tanks, 250 litres each, so 1,000 litres. I know that because I filled them up the other day.
And what have you done to the engine? Did you do much engineering work?
No, not a huge amount of engineering work. So she's had some new glow plugs, a new alternator, a complete service all the way through, bled all the injectors. But nothing more that was really required.
And you've added this LED lighting and
I've added some LED lighting and a camera so that I can see what goes on in the engine bay. And the only other sort of engineering work I really needed to do down here was the fuel filters were in a very peculiar place. Very, very, very peculiar place. So it was really hard to get there and service them, especially if you had a problem at sea. So I relocated both of them. So that they now go through 2 sets of fuel filters. It actually goes through 3 sets of fuel filters before it goes through the fuel filter on the engine. So the fuel that's getting injected into this engine is as clean as it could possibly be.
So come on then, Ross, time for the big reveal. What did the whole thing cost?
So the whole refit on this boat cost me £15,182.
That is unbelievable, including a professionally fitted galley.
Including the professionally fitted galley.
So let's break it down just a little bit then in terms of cabins. Talk me through what the individual areas cost.
Okay, so the aft cabin in its entirety to finish was £1,288.
Right.
The aft heads, so all of the new shower that was put in was £1,119. The galley, this saloon was obviously the biggest expense, so £7,190. I kind of had an element of general, so things like interior paint, carpets, finishing, the blinds, because they were all the way through. So that was £2,000 in the general sort of parts. The mast, so the whole mast, everything that was associated with, including the paint and all the wiring and the cables, was £235.
Amazing.
And then the Flybridge, so all the gauges, the digital gauges I bought, the sort of furniture, the table, the new bimini that I had made was £2,500. The forward cabin, £250, so it was just a bit of upholstery in there. The forward heads was £560, having a grand total spend of £15,182 for this.
So in total, the whole boat comes in under £60,000?
Under £60,000, yes.
So you bought it originally for 45?
For 45.
You spent 15 on it, and all this is yours for £60,000?
Absolutely, and very bespoke to what I want. And I would not be able to find a boat like this on the market today that met all the needs for any less from about 150,000.
And how many hours of your time do you think you put into it?
More than I would care to want to admit, if I'm honest.
Have you any idea?
I would say it's probably, easily over 300 hours.
Okay.
Easily.
Okay. But nevertheless, it shows you just what you can get for your money. So what would you say to people who, when you mention boating, go, oh yeah, but that's a rich man's sport?
Yeah, and as I've said before, and I think I mentioned this in this last video, boating is as rich or as poor as you make it. If you don't have the money but you want to get on the water, it's absolutely possible. You don't have to keep boats in expensive marinas. We are in a really, really pretty boatyard here that for this boat is less than £3,000 a year to keep here. It's a really incredible little place. So from a mooring size perspective, this is a really cheap place to keep a boat, and if you go smaller and you get a smaller boat, then of course the cost goes down. If you can do a little bit of DIY, you're happy to watch a few little YouTube videos and you're happy to have a go. Unless you do something major, the reality of sinking a boat while you're on pontoon is not really that possible. A lot of this is cosmetic. If you're not that confident with the engineering work on underwater valves or what that means that's going to let something in that you're a little bit worried about, then don't do it. Bring in a professional or ask them some advice. There's so many people that will help you in the boating community, and I have found that all through the years that I've owned a boat, and I love to pay that back to people. I've helped so many people through understanding how they get their boat back up to the best condition, what they could do, some ideas of how they could do various bits. And I've seen so many people contact me saying, oh, I ended up buying a boat because I watched your video, or I ended up doing this because I see your video, or I ended up doing this because I done that. And that's what then gives you the confidence to be able to move on. If you had a caravan on your drive, you'd probably have a go at doing it up. So why not a boat? So it doesn't have to be an expensive man's sport. You can actually make this as cost effective as possible if you just be a little bit creative, find those little bits of ingenuity, and spend a little bit of time researching to get deals on products or Facebook or eBay or Amazon or Marketplace. There's so much stuff out there. So buy well, be smart, have a go yourself, and don't be afraid to get stuck in. Summed up in one. Brilliant. Thank you so much for your time. Really admire what you've done. Thanks, Hugo.